What's going on, everyone? This is John here with Power Clean Pressure Wash, and just like the title says, I've given HomeAdvisor over $3,000 in the last 90 days. And this video is a follow-up to the previous video I did. It was a 30-day review. I'll link that in the description below. And you can see what I did in my first 30 days. And like I said, this is a follow-up to show you what I've done in 90 days with being with HomeAdvisor. If you want to see more content like this, I need you to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Drop a comment later, we'll talk about that, but I want to get right into the video. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way because I got this comment a lot on my last HomeAdvisor video. This video, am not sponsored by HomeAdvisor at all. I am not saying you should go with them. I am not saying that they're the greatest company. I'm not saying they have a great history. I'm not saying anything. All I'm doing is giving my personal account with them. That's all this is. So if you're here to talk about like why HomeAdvisor is horrible and you just have this bad feeling and you're going with all the other people out there, this video is just not for you. So please just leave. This video is not sponsored in any way by HomeAdvisor. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So if you're one of those people that are like, I really want to hate on HomeAdvisor and I'm going to comment below, go somewhere else. This video is not for you. So if you want to hear my real account of what I'm actually doing with HomeAdvisor, stay, check it out, hang out, we'll have some fun. But otherwise, you know, this video is not for you. So I did a video before, like I said, and I'm going to post the description below. It has a history on HomeAdvisor. It has some pros and cons. It has a lot of information on them, and I'm going to leave that information out of this video. This video, I want to do just a follow-up to my 30-day review of HomeAdvisor. So this is, my previous video was 30 days. This is a 90-day follow-up to HomeAdvisor. So I've been with HomeAdvisor for over 90 days now, but I'm looking at the first 90 days that I was with them. So without wasting any time, I'm going to go get right into the numbers. And the first thing we're going to look at is the leads. So looking at the leads, I have my 30-day numbers and I have my 90-day numbers. So the 30-day numbers were the numbers that I reported in the first video. This is a continuation of the 90-day numbers. So if you look at it, in the first 30 days, I acquired 41 leads total from HomeAdvisor. Now, this is strictly for pressure washing, and I think gutters is in there as well. The next, over the full 90 days, so this includes the first 30 days, I received 96 leads from HomeAdvisor. So you can see that HomeAdvisor leads have slowed down. They're not as many leads as we had in the first 30 days, but we can expect that because the weather's shifting. I'm here in Washington State, and you know, people are looking to get their homes cleaned less and less and less. They're, you know, doing other projects, or, you know, saving money for holidays or other things. You know, it's not like other markets where we have a 10-month pressure washing season. We have really a 8-month, if we're lucky, pressure washing season, 8-9 month pressure washing season here in Washington. So it's going to be a little bit different. So the leads have slowed down in the last 30 days especially. I spent nearly $1,400 in the first 30 days. Now in 90 days, I spent a little over $3,100, $3,143.40 to be exact. That's the cost for the leads. Now, if you look at it, if we break it down, the cost of the leads, the average cost of the leads, so if we take that $1,400 divided by 41 leads, we get roughly $34.08. Over 90 days, our lead cost has gone down. I don't know specifically why the lead cost has gone down, but I just know that it has. That's the numbers, and that's what it shakes out to be. So the next numbers I want to look at is the jobs that I actually got from HomeAdvisor. So let's look at those. So in the first 30 days, you can see here that I was awarded 14 jobs. So this is where I get a lead and I call the customer and I close the customer on our pricing and what have you. So like I said before, we had 41 leads, 14 jobs awarded during that time. We made about $7,800. Now, There was an asterisk on this in the previous video because I was still learning the pricing. I'm still a very new company. I only started in May, so we were still understanding the pricing and still understanding kind of what the top end value we can get, but we'll go over that in just a moment. And our average job at the time was $557.14. Now, if we go over the next 90 days, you can see we didn't even double the jobs awarded, but the revenue has been exponentially more. It's been $17,000, almost $500. So what we can see is the average job has gone up to $673.03. This comes from a number of different things. The first thing is we're able to understand our pricing a little bit better and figure out what the top of the market is going to allow. You'll see that we're taking less jobs, but we're getting more money for each one of those jobs. And that means that we're working less harder, but we're getting paid more for our jobs. And that's what we want. We want to get paid top dollar and do the least number of jobs possible so that we can fill our time slot with high value jobs. And that's the ultimate goal here. So overall, I think in the first 30 days, we were just figuring things out. And like I said, we're a very new company. We're just trying to understand how to price things. In the last 60 days, we've really refined our pricing. We've really refined our sales tactic, and we're able to really go after these jobs and over double the revenue without doubling the jobs. So that's a big takeaway that we need to look at from these numbers here. The next thing I want to look at is our profitability for each one of these jobs. So in the first 30 days, we had about $6,400 profitability, and that worked out to be about 82% when you deduct the cost of the leads. Over the next 90 days, we're sitting around $14,355, again, 82%, which lends back to the point where we are just as profitable as we were in the first 30 days, but we're taking less jobs. And this is a good thing. This is what we want to see. Now, we want to be able to be more profitable, and this basically means that more customers are turning us down, which is balancing out the lead cost versus the jobs that we do get and the revenue that we do get. But this is a good thing for a growing company because we're not trying to take every single job for every little couple $100 here and there. We're trying to take those high valued, high ticket jobs where customers are going to call us back year over year over year. So this is a really great way to gauge how you're establishing yourself as a company. Next, we're going to look at the average leads per day. In the beginning, it was about 1.32 leads per day. Over the last 90 days, it's dropped to about 1.07 leads per day. Again, HomeAdvisor is slowing up. People are not doing as many projects right now. And I just think that's a product of what's happening with people rather than HomeAdvisor necessarily. Now, the last number here is going to be our close rate. We went from 34.15 to 27.08. Like I said, people are not responding as much to our higher prices, but that's a good thing because we're able to keep profitability up. We're able to keep our time more valuable, and we're able to get the revenue higher for our company. You know, we're making more money overall with a lower close rate. Of course, we want to close at a higher close rate, and we're going to be working on that and trying to refine those projects and investing in equipment that's going to make jobs a lot easier for us so that we can take some of those low value, those $200, $300, $400 jobs, anything below our $500 minimum. And we could take some of those and kind of fill them in with some of our dead space. So that's something that we want to do additionally. We don't want that to be our bread and butter. We want that to be kind of like the icing on top of the cake. We want our bread and butter to be those high valued, high ticket jobs. And so I think we're on track, and HomeAdvisor is really helping us out with that. So the last metric that I want to look at is our credits. Now, HomeAdvisor has a credit program. So basically how it works is if you contact a customer and it's not within your scope of work, or you try to call the customer and they're just not answering, and they have a criteria that I talk about in my previous video on how to actually get a credit, but they issue you a credit, or you can request a credit, and they'll issue you a credit if it falls within that criteria. Now, we have done a lot more credits than we did in the first 30 days. So I want to pull up those numbers and show you basically what we're getting back in our credits. So over the first 30 days, you'll see that we submitted 10 credits that were worth $365.16. We had 6 approved at the time for a total of $191.14, and 2 were ineligible for $69.45. Now, that credit isn't given back to you in money, it's given back to you as a credit on your bill. So it just goes to your account for future lead costs. Now, over 90 days, we did 39 credits. So we did more than 3 times as much, and we submitted $1,220.61 of credits. We only got back 12 credits over that entire time. The first 30 days, we did 6 credits. The next 90 days, or the next 60 days, we only had 6 more credits for a total value of $370.69. We had 23 credits ineligible for credit. That's a lot, $689.76. So the reason why a lot of these leads were ineligible for a credit was because we didn't follow the criteria to a T. It involves calling the customer within 24 hours, calling them 2 times, notating, and a few other things. And again, you got to watch that last video to go into depth about how to actually get a credit. So we were just kind of submitting everything. Well, we tried to balance between submitting everything that we didn't get paid on versus everything that just kind of made sense and kind of fit. We tried to have some kind of integrity about it. We didn't want to submit every single lead that we didn't close, but we did submit ones that we felt were either not in our scope of work, the customer wasn't responding, or just things like that. I really think this is an opportunity for HomeAdvisor, because for me, missing out on almost $700 in leads, I know a lot of those, at least half of those, were either not in our scope of work, were either the customer was just not responding. Sometimes it was duplicate leads. Now, we got some credit back, but HomeAdvisor really needs to step up their game with issuing those credits back, or at least have a liaison or some kind of representative that we can phone into to get those credits back. They have a review process, and they'll give you a comment if you're submitting a lot of leads like we've been, or a lot of credits like we've been submitting. They'll say you're submitting more credits than normal. We're going to have somebody review it. You just can't see behind the curtain on that review, and there's nobody to contact you or nobody that speaks with you about that. I would really like to see HomeAdvisor kind of double down on that credit system, and I think that would make a lot more contractors happier to do business with them, so that they can feel that they're getting the full value of the service. Again, HomeAdvisor isn't a job service, it's a lead service. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. Their job isn't to get you jobs, their job is to get you leads, and you have to convert those leads into sales. Now, if it is a lead and the customer feels like you're too high priced, or the customer, there's a number of different scenarios where a lead just kind of falls through. That's no fault of HomeAdvisor and really no fault of yours, and it's just kind of like this weird gray area. I don't mind paying for those. I understand HomeAdvisor did me the service of getting me the lead, but when it falls outside of my scope of work, it falls outside of my service area, it's a duplicate lead, it is the customer has no intention of ever doing the job, which has happened a couple times. If I really wish HomeAdvisor would work with us a little bit more and give us the option of getting those credits back. Like I said, there's about $300-400 in there where I know that it fell into one of those categories where I want that money back. Now, with all of that said, I really think that this is one of the reasons why people don't like HomeAdvisor. They feel like there's fake leads that come through. They feel like, all sorts of things. I've read all sorts of things. I've heard all sorts of things, but it's really about fake leads, and it's really about the shadiness that happens with HomeAdvisor. Again, I can't really say that it's an overwhelming number. Like I said, I'm making about 80% profit on HomeAdvisor leads, minus my, work costs and all of those other things. But it's about an 18% cost for me to do business with HomeAdvisor. But I built that into my cost that I pass along to the customer, and it kind of all works itself out. So that's what I really want to get into. I want to get into how to be successful with HomeAdvisor. If you choose to go with them, or if you're already with them, how do you maximize your dollars with HomeAdvisor? The first thing, and I think the most important thing, is you can't give up on a lead. We've called back leads that we just couldn't get any responses to. We called them back like a month later, and they're like, oh yeah, I was super busy, I was super tied up, medical emergency, business, blah 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 blah. I'm ready to do business now. And it's really cool because there's a huge pipeline of customers that we'll call back, over and over and over again. And we call 5, 6, 7, 8 times now over the course of a month before we decide that a lead is dead. Now, with that, we'll submit a credit within HomeAdvisor's time frame, but we want to follow up on that lead over and over and over again. And I've gotten some big jobs off of following up with leads. We have a HOA that we're looking at doing a whole sidewalk for, and that came, I think it was like 45 days later that they finally answered the phone. So following up with leads is huge with HomeAdvisor. The next thing is you got to contact customers fast and often. And it kind of goes into what I just said, but once a lead comes through, you want to be the first contractor on the phone with them. If you do bids over the phone, give them that bid right away. If you do bids in person, go to their home right away and or go to the site right away and get them the bid as fast as possible. That speed is going to help you close sales a lot more often. Next, take advantage of that lead credit program. It's there, and if you follow the process, there's a very good chance that you're going to get that lead credit back. Like I said, I've got a few $100 back. I've missed out on a few $100, but it feels good to get some of those credits back, and it does help lower the cost of the overall platform. The last thing is, this is a lead that comes in just like any other lead. You want to ask for reviews and you want to ask for referrals. So if you could take a HomeAdvisor lead that costs you $32, like I said, on average, and get another job off of it, like a neighbor or a family member or somebody else, then you're able to split that cost of that HomeAdvisor lead. That HomeAdvisor lead now goes from $32 to $16 for each one of those customers. And if you do that over and over again, whether it's with the same customer doing multiple jobs, which has happened a number of times, or asking them for referrals to refer you out to a family member or friend or neighbor, something like that, which has happened a number of times. Or if you're able to keep the customer year over year and bring down that cost, you're sending them just an email saying, hey, it's been a year since we cleaned your home, let's do it again. It's been 6 months since we cleaned your driveway, let's do it again. If you can follow up with a phone call, that costs you almost nothing. So you're bringing down that initial HomeAdvisor cost. And that's how you have to look at it. This is an initial customer acquisition cost, and it gets cheaper if you follow up with the customer year over year, month over month, or whatever your follow-up program is. If you build in a solid follow-up program, your HomeAdvisor lead acquisition cost is going to go down over time. And that's how you have to look at it. HomeAdvisor is getting you that customer, but it's your job to keep that customer for life. And you could definitely do that. You could definitely make that customer more valuable by maximizing them with referrals and year-over-year service. So I didn't really give an opinion on HomeAdvisor before. I kind of laid out how to be successful, things I don't like, but this time I'm actually going to give an opinion. I like HomeAdvisor. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I'm going to get people in the comments saying, you're sponsored, this is horrible, they screwed me over. Listen, I like them. I like them. It's not that bad. It has been profitable for me. It has kept our business going. It has kept the phone ringing. I'm not gonna say I dislike them. They're whether they're a great company internally, that's not my business. My business is pressure washing, and these are my actual numbers. These are my real numbers. I'm sharing you exactly what I've experienced with them. There's no trickery. I'm not moving. There's no shell games or anything. These are my real numbers. So with those said, yes, 18% is very high as far as a lead acquisition cost, but like I said, there's things that I can do as a business owner to lower that over time. And I don't mind having an 18% acquisition cost when I'm able to make up money, kind of elsewhere with all my other lead generating tools like Facebook and Google and Angie's List and Porch.com and phone calls and yard signs and everything else that's generating things. I don't mind paying them 18%, at least for right now, until I can start making those leads cost me less and less with year-over-year service and referrals. So that's fine. I'm happy to pay HomeAdvisor their fee, and I get the customer, and it's my job to maximize them. So overall, I like HomeAdvisor. That's my opinion on it. Now, if you're thinking about signing up at HomeAdvisor, there are some clear things that I would definitely make sure are in place before you even consider signing up with them. If these things are not in place, do not sign up with them. You're not ready. Your business isn't ready. You're going to have a negative experience with them. You're going to be one of the people saying in the comments, everything was so bad with them. Like, if you don't have these things in place, and if you've had a negative experience with HomeAdvisor, I challenge you to weigh yourself and your company against these things I'm about to talk about to see if these things were in place, so that you can say, maybe part of it was my fault, and you could take some ownership of that. And if you decide to give them or any other platform in the future a chance, you can do so with kind of an open mind and have a little bit more accountability on you and your business. So here are the things that your business needs to have in order before you take on a lead acquisition service like HomeAdvisor. The first thing, you have to have a solid sales process. You can't just be winging it. You can't just be winging your prices. You have to have a solid sales process. And we have a process that we go through. It's a step-by-step 6-point process. We take all of our customers through it. It works effectively. I mean, we're closing good. We're closing high dollar numbers. We're closing, like I said, my minimum charge to go out to a home is $500, and that's for driveways, that's for house cleans. It doesn't matter. And then it goes up from there. We close high ticket sales. I think my biggest job to date was about $3,000, and these are residential services. So it can be done, and that actually kind of goes into the next thing that I want to talk about. You have to be on the higher side, the mid to higher side of your pricing. You can't be the guy that's trying to charge the cheapest, most affordable prices and be on HomeAdvisor. There is 18%. There's a large chunk. I'm on the mid to higher, on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm somewhere between a 7 and an 8 on my pricing. I'm not the 10 guy, but I'm far from the 1 guy. I'm far from the 2. I'm somewhere between 7 and 8, 7 and 9, depending on the job. You want people turning you down with price. And if you're not getting that, if you're trying to be the lowest guy, if you're trying to be anywhere below a 6, then HomeAdvisor is going to feel very expensive. It's going to eat into your margins. It's going to eat into your costs. You're going to have a 50% acquisition cost, which is going to feel painful. That means every $100 you spend with HomeAdvisor, you're only going to make $100 in profit. That's not good. That's not where you want to be. 20% or 18% is a healthy number I think I could give them and still be profitable. Of course, my goal is to lower that, and I'm going to drive that cost lower. But you have to be on the mid to high side of the spectrum if you're going to, and this goes with any service. You can't be the middle to low guy. HomeAdvisor is not, or any kind of major lead acquisition source that isn't free or word of mouth is going to feel extremely expensive when you are shelling out those dollars for leads. It's so I would say the number 2 thing is you have to make sure you're on the mid to high side of your pricing for your market. And like I said, on the number 1 thing, you have to have a sales process that supports getting those mid to high dollar pricing. Next is you have to be able to obligate yourself to a fast response for the customer. So timing is everything on lead acquisition costs or lead acquisition sites like HomeAdvisor. Yes, you're competing with other contractors. Yes, you're competing with if they're looking on HomeAdvisor, they're also looking on Google. They're also looking on Yelp. They're also looking on all of these other platforms. So you have to be able to compete fast. If you cannot obligate yourself to responding to customers within 15 minutes of them reaching out to you, then I would say HomeAdvisor is not for you. You want to be able to obligate yourself. You want to be able to have the mental capacity, the time bandwidth. If you're working a 9-to-5 job already, and this is something that you're doing on the side, I probably wouldn't go with HomeAdvisor as far as a lead generation tool, mainly because if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're not going to be able to respond to those leads quickly, and you're going to be burning $30, $40 on a lead that's going to be going nowhere. It's going to feel very expensive, and it's going to create a bad experience. You have to be able to have the capacity to obligate yourself to responding to customers within 15 minutes. And if you don't have that capacity, I wouldn't go with a lead acquisition site like HomeAdvisor, Angie's List, or almost any of them, unless it's a platform where you're not competing. Like, for example, a website. When people are going on your website, you're one of one. You're competing with just yourself. Facebook ads, that's another one. Google ads, that's another one. But if you're not able to compete with other contractors time-wise, not price-wise, time-wise, then I would not go with a lead acquisition cost like HomeAdvisor. Last, I think this is going to be the most obvious. You have to have the working capital in order to be able to afford a service like HomeAdvisor. Like I said, I spent over $3,000 with them in the course of 90 days. That's almost $1,000. That's over $1,000 a month, a little over $1,000 a month. It gets very expensive very fast. I remember one week they hit me with a bill for over $400, and I was like, oh my gosh. Now, when I look back on it and I did the numbers, it felt emotionally expensive, right? $400, what am I paying for? This is crazy. This is a scam. This is that. It felt emotionally painful. But when I looked back at it, I saw that $400 had generated me thousands of dollars, right? So that $400 was not as bad when I looked at the empirical data and I got rid of the emotion of it. But you have to have the revenue in order to support that. If you don't have $1,000 a month that you can allocate to a project like HomeAdvisor, it's gonna feel expensive. So again, you have to have the working capital in order to be able to afford a service like HomeAdvisor. So that's my 90-day follow-up video. Make sure you check out my other video for the 30-day video. I have a lot of information about the history of HomeAdvisor, some scandals they were in, some other information. It's really informative. This video, I really wanted to focus on the follow-up because there was a lot to unpack there and it was a lot to kind of go over. I'm going to continue with them. Like I said, I like the platform. I'm going to work on making it cheaper for me, and I'm going to be more successful at HomeAdvisor because, I'm taking the time to analyze it. I'm taking the time to figure out how to lower my acquisition costs and get the top end pricing for the jobs that we're doing. And looking at these numbers, I'm going to be focused on closing more jobs, and some of the jobs that we aren't closing, I'm going to try to figure out why we're not closing them and figuring out how we can piece those in. I want you to drop a comment below and let me know if you have an experience with HomeAdvisor. Don't just say, oh, I hate them, they're a scam company, they're this, they're that. That's just bullshit, right? It's just words for the sake of words. Tell me your experience. What did they do to you? If you've had a great experience with them, let me know. I want to contrast our experiences. Based on what I said earlier, was your company set up to take on a lead acquisition cost like HomeAdvisor? Can you be real with yourself and weigh yourself against that? If your company was set up for that and you still had a negative experience, let me know. I want to know exactly what's been going on so I can make better videos for you guys and maybe we could figure out what's happening here and maybe make some great recommendations to HomeAdvisor to make it better for all of us. Were you on the fence about signing up with HomeAdvisor? And if so, did this video sway you one way or the other? Love to hear what you have to think about that. Again, I'm not affiliated with HomeAdvisor whatsoever. I don't work for them. I am affiliated in a sense. I'm a customer of theirs. That's my only affiliation with them. And I'm making this video as a new pressure washing company. Like I said, I started in May of 2020. I'm very new at this, but I am focused on sales, I'm focused on marketing, and we do a great job pressure washing. So I wanted to make this video for people that weren't focused on sales and marketing but are great at pressure washing or other professional services and want to get some context of how to be successful on a lead acquisition site like HomeAdvisor. So that's what this whole video is about. But I want to know, did this video help influence your decision? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. Like always, make sure you smash that like button and that subscribe button. I have not been putting out as much content as I wanted to, but I'm going to start focusing on putting out more content. I'm going to have my Angie's List 90-day review follow-up. I think that's going to be a little bit different than my HomeAdvisor. It's going to be, I don't know, I have some emotional feelings, but I have to look at the empirical data to kind of weigh that out. That's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be dropping some videos on pressure washing specific things that I would do differently, things that I would buy, all sorts of videos coming up, and I've got a lot of great content planned for you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon for notifications so you can be notified when I drop new content. Either way, guys, this is John, Power Clean Pressure Wash. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.